Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and for today's video topic, I think a lot of you, especially Tesla bulls out there, would definitely be interested in hearing what I have to say on the current price or the current value of Tesla shares. And by the way, I did do a video like this just a few weeks ago, pretty much titled the same thing that this one will be titled, and that is just me talking about what I think is the best price to buy Tesla. And keep in mind that especially with this video, things have changed recently. My perspective on Tesla has changed recently, and I'll admit it's been in a good way. And also keep in mind that this is simply just my logic and my thinking on what I think would be a good valued price for Tesla right now. The things that I say in this video are not to be considered financial advice. It is simply just me sharing my thoughts and opinions about the market and the moves that I'm making, not a recommendation to buy Tesla stock at a certain price per se. But jumping right into Tesla's price value currently, as you can see right here, it's currently at a value of $817.14. Today is Saturday, May 24th, and then we also have Monday coming up, which is also not a market day. So I have to admit, I am interested to see how this stock opens up on Tuesday. For some reason, I have a feeling that it's going to be positive, just because I felt like there was a lot of uncertainty towards the end Friday, where people were kind of panic selling some stocks off because it was a 3-day weekend basically for the market. And as we know, any sort of negative news can come out over the weekend, and especially when it's an extended weekend, anything negative could happen that could cause stocks to go down in value. So considering that this weekend is over and that sort of like that uncertainty that was in the market for this 3-day weekend, considering that that is over with this upcoming Tuesday, at least I'm hoping that the stock goes higher in value. I think that would go along with the logic of the panic sort of going away with the weekend situation. But I have noticed that lately, even on someone I would recommend watching if you are a Tesla bull, his name is Chicken Genius Singapore on YouTube. It's a content creator that covers a lot of topics around Tesla stock, and he does his own analysis on the stock as well. And one thing that I noticed from his videos that also goes along with my perspective on seeing how Tesla has moved in the market recently. So I have noticed that usually when you do see a red day with Tesla, like a day that the stock price does drop, it seems like if you're buying for the future, normally that red day is when you would like to buy, because usually the red day is sort of where it hits a point and then it just keeps going on from then up. As you can see right here, ever since the crash, aside from this little moment right here, of course we had a red day here, then it goes up, of course, then we have another red day right here, that would have been a buying opportunity, goes up once again, and then we have a few red days here as well with Tesla where it goes down some. And of course, let's pretend we bought on that red day. It goes way up, and then of course there's like a few red days here and there with the smaller dips. We're just taking all of this into consideration. For example, like multiple days on this chart, we would just consider like one red day, because it kind of goes along with just the idea of either a green day or a red day. So with this, I basically just consider all of these as green days, considering that the general trend is going upwards. I mean, you could look at it on a micro scale and say, okay, April 8th was a red day, and then April 9th is a green day, and then of course April 13th is another big green day. But in overall terms, I basically just say, okay, right here at this point is a red day, then we have green days up until then at this point, which is another red day, then we have more green days. So basically going on that pattern of me talking about how usually the red day is when a good time to buy is, you can kind of see this example on the chart, and a lot of it does have to do with the recent movement with the stock because of the recent crash. However, you can pretty much take this into consideration. We hit this plateau up here a little bit, then it goes down, we have that red day I was talking about, it goes up again and have another red day, and then let's pretend we buy right here, goes up once again, we have another red day right here, let's pretend we buy once again, and then of course it goes up. And that pattern seems to continue since this most recent crash. If there is a red day, after that it pretty much seems that it's more bullish after we had that red day, where it sort of presents itself a buying opportunity. And I'm not saying buy on every single red day, but in simple terms, I do have to admit that I am seeing a pattern where if we have a day that Tesla stock goes down in value, then that usually in my mind seems like a decent time to buy, because after we have a day like that, Tesla stock seems to consistently go on bull runs that therefore present a later red day, but that later time where the stock drops, that red day is actually still higher than the previous red day that we've seen. And that's even true with this low point right here compared to this low point right here. And I'm not saying this is going to continue on further, but I am mentioning that I'm noticing a pattern with this recovery from the most recent crash. And as you can see right here on May 24th, we are nearing all-time highs once again. I think the all-time high is like $948 or $968 $800 or something like that. I know we could zoom in and break it down even more, but it's just somewhere in that range right there. But we are getting close to the most recent all-time highs, and of course, there's the common question of when should I buy into Tesla stock? What's a good price to buy in? And let me just present you all with a little example that may help you with your thinking on when you should buy or if you should buy. Let's pretend we have an example where in the future, there's someone that bought a lot of Tesla stock early on, like at this point or back when it was at like $198 in early 2019. Or like I said, even if you buy at a high point, like $800, like even I'm buying at right now. Let's pretend that I bought at $800 and just loaded up on shares in this opportunity time right here. And then in 20 years, someone says, man, I can't believe how expensive Tesla share prices are right now. I sure wish I would have bought it back in 2020 when it was $800, but I just thought it was way too high back then. If you think about this logic, what may seem expensive right now may actually not be that bad of a price in the future if Tesla does stay true to its promises and its scaling business model and all of the things that it is planning on doing right now with the robo-taxis, the full self-driving, the battery research and development with the declining cost curves. So of course the stock price seems high right now, but you have to take into consideration if Tesla does what they say they're going to do, which they are well known for keeping their promises, maybe not on the exact track time, but they do keep their promises if we look at the facts and we look at the history with the company. If they are accurate and become the first company to have completed full self-driving safely and accurately, they keep going along that declining cost curve on battery research and development, and also maximize the efficiency of lithium-ion batteries in terms of how far and how many miles you can drive with it, then in my opinion, we're going to look back on this stock price as a great opportunity that we missed out on if we don't make some purchases right now. But that is only in the case of Tesla being successful in the future with what they are stating they are going to do right now. But in my honest opinion, this is simply my opinion, not me telling you whether you should buy this stock at this price or whatever right now. This is simply what I think. I am extremely bullish on Tesla right now because they have a consistent track record in doing what they say they're going to do. It all started out with Elon Musk telling everyone that he wanted to wean humans off of fossil fuels and steer them towards renewable energy. And so far, he is keeping those promises. They set out a plan a few years ago, basically stating what they have already done in terms of like creating the Roadster, creating the Model Y, the Model 3, the Model X. Basically, in their plans, they were talking about how they would create a low-volume, high-value sports vehicle, which they did that, and it was super strategic because it was low volume, which meant not a lot of production, but it was also a high-priced vehicle, so they were able to gain a lot of revenue from that, which therefore in turn led them to create a more higher volume car that also didn't cost as much, but they were able to still make a lot of money from that. And they kept on doing this with even more models in the future, and now of course we have the Cybertruck coming up soon, and the only reason that Tesla is able to start producing a mass quantity of Cybertruck soon is because they had this delicate and planned out plan that pretty much went perfectly. They created all of these gigafactories and they still plan on creating even more. Every single aspect of their plan pretty much went ahead and accomplished what they said they were going to do. And a lot of the times you see many companies out here that promise things, even if they are highly valued companies that are well known, a lot of the times you can't count on them to keep their promises. However, Tesla has a mission and Elon Musk has a mission that they will not let fail. At this point, we are past the threat of failure for Tesla. And in my opinion, in the future, we are going to be looking at electric vehicles like we look at an iPhone nowadays compared to gasoline vehicles, which is pretty much like the analogy of a flip phone compared to an iPhone. iPhones and smartphones are the norm now, while flip phones and those older phones, there's barely anyone using them. Usually the people that are using them are just super old or like them for some niche reason. And I think exactly that is going to happen with Tesla as well. And right now, I strongly feel that the writing is on the wall for Tesla. The writing was on the wall in mid-2019, and of course, a lot of people noticed that and took advantage of the stock being undervalued with people like Steve and Mark Ryan and many other Tesla bulls out there as well. So like I said, the writing has been on the wall, and finally, more people are starting to point out the writing on the wall to other individuals, like we saw in super late 2019, like late December 2019. Analysts like Jim Cramer even started to support Tesla simply because his his daughter got a Tesla vehicle and he liked it as well and his daughter liked it. That's literally all it took for Jim Cramer to change his mind. However, my thoughts about analysts and expertise are just a whole nother topic, because I think that sometimes retail investors, just like simple people like us, are some of the smartest people when it comes to stock picking. But regardless of all of that, just to give the simple answer on what I think the best time to buy Tesla stock is, the best price to buy Tesla stock, I honestly think the best time and the best price is to buy it right now. For one thing, we can never predict where the market is going to go in the future. However, it is reasonable to predict that the market will go up for Tesla stock in the future if they do what they say they're going to do. And so far, it looks like things are going according to plan, and they're scaling production just like Amazon and Google did back in the day. And another problem is a lot of people view scaling production and a lack of profit or a lack of cash flow as a bad thing for a company. And it's kind of like the analogy of good debt and bad debt. A lot of people look at any debt as something that is bad. However, there is also good debt. For example, let's say my interest rate on my car or my Tesla vehicle is like 3 to 4%, and I think, okay, I can either pay all of my vehicle price off right now in cash, or I can pay that extra 4%, and then I can put my extra cash into a stock that I know that will give me at least 10% per year. So you can use that debt, aka good debt, to help you make more money and also save more money, rather than you simply using all of your cash flow to pay off a vehicle at once instead of getting that 4% interest. But now you have no money to invest, whereas you can do both at the same time. Pay off the 4% interest slowly and use that extra cash you have to invest and gain more money in the long term. And this analogy slash metaphor applies to Tesla as well, where a lot of analysts look at Tesla's cash flow and how much cash they are getting every single quarter or every single year. And there were times where Tesla basically wasn't making any money, and that's not because Tesla was performing poorly. That's what a lot of the analysts like to jump onto, but it was because Tesla was scaling production. It basically meant that Tesla is using every single bit of their profits to scale production, to build more factories, to conduct more research on batteries, to train the self-driving neural networks. They were putting pretty much every single bit of their profits into scaling production, and that is a good thing. However, there's also companies out there that are just simply a poor business. They don't perform well, they can't exceed sales expectations, and they barely make a profit. However, you have Tesla, which knows that it needs to keep up with demand, therefore it's more forward thinking, and they're thinking more into the future. And it's kind of what Amazon did, where they save a lot of money on taxes because they spend so much on their business every single year. And sometimes they won't even make a profit because they're scaling their business so much. And in my opinion, that is one of the best things a company can do when they know that they're going to dominate an industry. And that is exactly what Tesla is doing right now. So everything across the board for Tesla is looking great, in my opinion. This is one of the best stocks that anyone could be in right now, I think, at least. Although there could be maybe a potential bubble with the whole price value on the stock, I think that for the long term, this is an excellent option. And as you can see, I don't have a great total return right now, but Tesla is still performing much better than a lot of the stock market indexes out there, kind of similar to like the VOO ETF, which generally mirrors the stock market trend for the S&P 500. It is still barely up for the last year. I think it's up like 4%. But just talking about the price, I think Tesla stock is worth buying right now. I did have a price target of pretty much any share price for Tesla under $600 being a good deal. But now I think even at this current price, $817, I think it is a little bit of a high value price tag. But I also think it's worth it because you have stocks like Apple, which have always been over fair value for the past few years. I mean, if you take a look at the fair value of Apple, it's $240 currently, and Apple is at $319 right now, with no signs of stopping and going back to that fair value. And even with the most recent crash, it barely hit its fair value. It didn't even go under its fair value. Well, it did right there at $219, barely. So I think there's always going to be stocks in the stock market that are always going to be above the fair value just because analysts have a lower expectation than they should have. So in my opinion, Tesla is just going to be another one of those stocks that may always be above fair value, but certainly deserves its price tag. For example, you have a stock like Shopify. I think this is one that is super above fair value. Yeah, fair value for Shopify is 238, and of course you look at the stock price and it's easily at 824 right now, and it's still gaining. So a lot of the times fair value is not even a good representation of what a stock is worth. And right now, as you can see, I've been purchasing tons of Tesla shares lately. On May 22nd, I think I spent around $4,900, about $5,000 just on Tesla stock. And then coming up on Monday, if we have a red day, I may be purchasing more as well. And even if it's a green day, I will most likely be purchasing some Tesla Monday as well, just because I want to make sure that I get into this stock, because it's one that I've done a lot of my research on. I understand the plans for the future, and I really see no competition whatsoever. So I do think that this stock price is definitely worth it. I think it's going to just exceed expectations across the board in terms of what people expect out of a stock and its growth. Tesla is such an innovator, and I even think it will show us new things with the stock market, just in terms of like growth that we have never really seen before, growth that we're not used to. But that is all just my opinion, and I could absolutely be wrong. I'm simply just uploading this video to share my thoughts and opinions about the stock price. I do think that it is currently worth purchasing at this price, just because of all of the potential in the future for this stock. And even if I'm wrong, I think worst case scenario, even at this price right now, I'm still going to gain some percentage of money by holding this stock and buying this stock at this price. I do not think Tesla will ever be close to under $800 10 years from now. I think that's pretty much impossible. But as we always know, only time will tell with events like these. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I have to admit, I am a big Tesla bull, but I also use logic and thinking and keep my emotions away from investing when it comes to buying Tesla stock and when it comes to buying Microsoft stock, and just a lot of my other choices out there as well. But if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Liking the video really does help me out, and it helps these videos get recommended to newer audience members as well. And also, if you would like to begin investing, feel free to use my referral link to Robinhood and Webull in the description below. I definitely appreciate it. And it looks like we just got a free stock from Shreya or Shraya. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If you're watching, thank you so much for signing up. I guess I might as well open it. Let's see what's in here. Let's see. Oh, okay. $5.91. That's definitely awesome. $6 for a free stock, so I'll take that for sure. So thank you so much, Shreya or Shraya, however you pronounce it. Thank you so much for using my referral link. I really do appreciate it. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend.